Well, hello and welcome to our July safety meeting for 2021. Once again, let me lay out the rules for you guys today. Please remember, once you've completed this video, please come and find myself, Jacob Ortiz, Miss Christian, or Jamie. Please contact us if you need us to also schedule a time frame for us to come and meet to take this quiz and sign off. Just remember, there is a quiz and a sign off to do. Okay? Now, let's get into our first topic. This is a very serious topic, so I do need everyone's attention. So I really hope you do pay attention to this portion. Active shooter and workplace violence. It's important to understand and see the signs of potential violence or possible active shooter situations. We're all aware of what happened to a yard in San Jose some months ago. This is very important information for you guys to understand. There are three basic parts to an active shooter situation: run, hide, and fight. These two videos that you're about to watch will tell you and also show you a dramatization of how these work effectively. Please understand that these things can happen, but if we do our due diligence, see something, say something, we are able to prevent these types of events. So I hope you enjoy and pay attention to these next videos.
Is that Dan? Is that a gun?
What is your emergency?
I just saw a former employee come in carrying a gun.
Come on and do this.
I just heard a gunshot.
We have an active shooter situation at 52 Chicago Avenue. Are you able to escape the premises without being seen?
Yes, I think so. I saw him go into the assembly building.
Police are on their way. If you can escape without being seen, you need to evacuate as soon as possible. An officer is on the scene. Try to get any co-workers to go with you.
What's going on?
I just saw Dan run into the assembly room with a gun. We gotta get out of here.
Let me get my purse.
No, we don't have time. Come on.
As you evacuate, if you see the officer, keep your hands where he can see them. Do not run directly at him or try to hide behind him. Follow his directions. Get behind any emergency vehicles that have arrived. For law enforcement to do their job, you must comply with their directions. First, put down any items and immediately raise your hands while spreading your fingers. Keep your hands visible at all times. Once you reach a safe assembly point, cooperate with officers by providing as much information as you can about the active shooter, such as his location and the location of individuals still trapped in the building.
Dan's here with a gun. He's in the shop. I think he shot George.
Okay, stay calm. I'm calling 911. Okay, here, you saw what happened. Make sure to tell them our location and Dan's location.
Right. That guy Dan that got fired. I just saw him go through the shop with a gun. We're stuck up here.
911, what is your emergency?
I work at Aurora Parts, and a former employee of ours just came into the warehouse with a gun. And I think he shot another employee of ours.
Are you able to evacuate the building?
No, he's right down the hall.
Police have been dispatched to your location. If you can't evacuate, your next option is to hide. First, do everything you can think of to keep the shooter out of that room.
Help me move that cabinet in front of the door.
If the door has a lock, lock it.
The door's locked.
You need to stay out of sight and be very quiet. And make sure everyone turns their phones off. Listen carefully to me and don't make any noise. Turn off the lights. Hide behind or under any heavy furniture that you could use as a shield, such as a cabinet or heavy desk. If he gets through that door, you will need to fight with everything you have. Look for any sharp or heavy objects that you can use as a weapon. Make sure to coordinate your plan of attack. Do anything you can to incapacitate him.
Police, drop your weapon!
The scenario we just witnessed was a dramatization, but unfortunately, acts of extreme violence have become all too common in today's workplace. Let's take a look back at what these people did to survive. Your first choice should always be to evacuate. Take anyone you can with you. Leave your belongings behind and get to safety as quickly as possible.
With a gun, we gotta get out of here.
Let me get my purse.
No, we don't have time. Come on, come on.
There may be officers arriving at the scene. They need to know that you're not a threat. So if you see police, follow their orders. Do not run directly at them and keep your hands where they can see them. If you cannot safely evacuate, your next option is to hide. If you're in an open area, try to hide behind or under anything that can provide both concealment and protection from gunfire. If you can get to a room, lock or barricade the door.
Help me move that cabinet in front of the door.
If you're sure you won't be heard, dial 911 and inform the dispatcher of the situation.
Okay, here, you saw what happened. Make sure to tell them our location and Dan's location.
Some areas allow texting to 911 if making a voice call is too dangerous. Check with your local government. If your hiding place is exposed and your life is in imminent danger, your last resort is to fight. Use anything you can find as a weapon. Commit fully. Do not stop until the attacker is disabled and disarmed. Hopefully, you'll never find yourself in a situation like we've just witnessed. But if you do, remembering these tactics could save your life.
This thing won't even turn on now. Are you kidding me?
You get a brand new computer and I gotta work with this? Swear to God, if they keep treating me like this, they're gonna be sorry. So Angie came home late last night. Swear to God, she's cheating on me. If I find out, I'm gonna kill her.
What did you say?
Nobody's talking to you. She's dead.
Dude, what are you doing? I asked for your help like a half hour ago.
Yeah,
I
and
gotta
get out of my face. You're not my boss, okay? Get the out of here.
Hey, you guys, take it easy, cool. Hey, you're getting a little hot here,
Yeah,
aren't we?
because he's trying to tell me what to do.
Yeah, Dan,
Yeah, I quit.
Settle.
Swear, I was out with my friends. Hello? Hello? You have to stop calling me. I'm calling the police.
Violence or the potential for violence in the workplace is something that needs to be taken seriously. Whether it is emotional or physical bullying, intimidation or physical violence, employers and employees must be alert and work together to prevent violence in the workplace. Disagreements and misunderstandings will always happen, but the goal of your workplace is to foster a respectful environment where differences are resolved peacefully.
I can't work with you. Everything I do you think is stupid.
Look, I'm sorry. I came off sounding like a jerk. Let's work on it together.
All right, I'll try.
Good communication can help resolve misunderstandings and differences of opinion. But at times, there are signs and signals that an individual's statements or behaviors indicate the potential for actual violence. This program will help us be aware of those signals and help us react in a way that can prevent violent situations. Generally, individuals do not become violent unexpectedly. They usually show signs of potentially violent behavior over time. The most important thing we can do to prevent a possibly violent situation is to speak up when we see something that makes us uncomfortable.
I swear, if they keep treating me like this, somebody's gonna be real sorry. Swear to God, she's cheating on me. If I find out, I'm gonna kill her.
If a coworker begins exhibiting signs of potentially aggressive or violent behavior, it's important that you bring it to the attention of a supervisor before it escalates into violence.
Hey, what's up, Rick?
Well, a little concerned about Dan.
Yeah?
I know he likes to kid around, but
Some of the more common signs to look for in a troubled individual are fairly noticeable and include erratic mood swings or paranoid behavior, talk of dire financial, domestic, or health problems, talk of previous violence against a person or empathy with individuals committing violence. Even worse, talk of harming someone or excessive talk about firearms, weapons, or crimes. Noticeable decline in appearance or hygiene. Increased use of alcohol and or illegal drugs. Continuous or repeated violations of company policies.
Hey, Dan. We gotta talk. You've been showing up lately, last week and a half late for work. And that's causing some problems. And, you know, Clean mentioned the other morning he thought you smelled alcohol in your breath when you showed up. So, we gotta talk.
Hi, Dan. Come on in. Let's talk about what's been going on here. Realize that if these behaviors are recognized, they can often be managed and treated before violence erupts. It's important to be aware that violence can be committed in your workplace, not just by a current or former employee, but also by a friend, relative, or someone who knows a current employee.
Hello? Hello? You have to stop calling me. I'm calling the police.
Angie? Angie, who was that?
I swear, I was out with my friends. I'm not lying.
Angie. Angie, I said who was that?
Hey, Kirsten.
Although it may be difficult to discuss, if you feel threatened or have a restraining order against someone, please notify your supervisor or human resource department so they can be aware of potential threats against you or the company. Violent situations may erupt suddenly, but often they are the result of an escalation of tension. An early sign of this tension can be frustration and impatience.
Hey Dan, did you know the welder's broken?
I didn't break it.
I didn't say you did, I just saw you working on it yesterday. Thought maybe you know what happened.
Well, I don't. It wasn't broken yesterday. Maybe you did something wrong.
Dude, what's your problem?
You are.
If you are confronted by a person who is upset, it is important to not escalate the situation. Listen attentively to the person. Ask simple questions to clarify your understanding of their concerns if necessary.
I didn't break it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like I'm accusing you. I thought maybe you know what happened.
Welding's not rocket science.
You're right. You just know more about it than I do. Can you help me troubleshoot?
I'm busy. Maybe if you hadn't spent so much time flirting with Anna, you could have figured it out yourself.
If necessary, bring a second party into the discussion to reason
Nancy
with the
Drew
person.
over here is trying to figure out the case of the broken welder. Well, if she doesn't leave me alone, I'm gonna break something
If
else.
the person shows signs of aggression, you need to adjust your response immediately. Don't offer solutions at this point. Maintain a safe, reasonable distance.
Well, if she doesn't leave
Keep
me
arms
alone, I'm gonna
lowered
break
and
something else.
non-threatening.
Okay, I think
Disengage from the person and leave the area if
Why don't you
possible.
just take a minute and head over there and cool down for a second. You and I, let's go take a look at that welder, okay?
Don't wait for an uncomfortable situation to escalate into an act of violence. If you see something or experience something that makes you uncomfortable, talk to your supervisor and, if necessary, your HR department. Remember, the first step in preventing a violent incident is to recognize the threat.
So I hope that information was very informative for you. So let's get into our actual defensive techniques and videos. First, active looking. We all know our LLC, right? Look ahead, look around, leave room, and communicate. It is very important that as a defensive driver, we utilize these techniques. But what is active looking? Active looking takes the main principle of look ahead, which is looking 15 seconds into your future, and look around, looking left, looking right, looking left again, and actively changing your point of focus every 2 seconds. This video will give you tips on what to be looking out for, how we should be reacting, and as a defensive driver, be prepared for future events. Always remember, when we're driving out there, we must expect the unexpected. We don't know what could be coming towards us, at us, from the side, up or down. So it's imperative that we constantly move our eyes, pay attention, and understand what is happening in these situations.
Hello there, folks, and welcome back to our monthly safety initiative. If your memory is sharp enough, you might remember that we introduced active looking and specifically focused on active looking at intersections a few months ago. If you remember that, then you probably remember that the definition of active looking is... Well, I won't put anyone on the spot, but active looking is defined as the process of actively using look ahead and look around to identify and react to potential risks. Active looking, along with LLC and a host of other safety-related techniques, all help us become safer operators and Transdev employees. This all supports our call to action. Make today a perfect safety day. By now, you can say it with me. From the office to the shop and out on the road, a perfect safety day is a day without a preventable motor vehicle accident, a passenger or pedestrian injury requiring transport to hospital, or an OSHA recordable employee injury. So let's recap active looking. We all practice LLC while behind the wheel, right? Well, active looking goes one step further by taking a deeper dive into look ahead and look around. Active looking helps us understand what to look for and how to react properly to different driving situations. When we employ active looking, there are 5 specific risks we need to watch out for: pedestrian and cyclists, parked cars about to pull into traffic, vehicles approaching the intersection from different directions, vehicles coming from head-on that might turn in front of you. When we last went over active looking, we focused on intersections. After all, intersections are the most dangerous driving environments we face. There are often pedestrians, cyclists, traffic signals, crosswalks, multiple lanes of traffic, and overall chaos at times. Active looking at intersections is one of the most important defensive driving practices a professional operator can have. This is especially true when it comes to active looking for pedestrians and cyclists at intersections. Here's an example of what can happen when you aren't actively looking for pedestrians. This operator fails to look around and has a near miss with a pedestrian as a result. It's just as important to actively look for cyclists in and around intersections. Let's see an example. Before and during turns, actively look ahead and look around for cyclists to avoid incidents like this. In both of these clips, the operators failed to actively look for pedestrians and cyclists and came within mere inches of a serious accident, potentially ending someone's life. It doesn't take much to avoid situations like these. Whenever you're approaching an intersection, actively look by looking ahead and scanning for any risks. Pay special attention to other cars and any pedestrians or cyclists who could be there. Then look around, look left, look right, and left again before proceeding through the intersection. And rock and roll during your turns to see around your blind spots caused by the A-frame and mirrors. That's a quick recap of how active looking prevents accidents at intersections. Today, we're focusing on active looking out on the road. Active looking is extremely important at intersections, but it doesn't end there. When it comes to active looking, and LLC for that matter, you should be practicing these defensive driving techniques the entire time you're behind the wheel. Professional operators have to drive defensively at all times. So let's take a look at active looking on the road.
Hi everyone. Like we already said, active looking doesn't stop at intersections. It's something professional operators have to practice at all times. But before we get into active looking, let's revisit LLC. After all, LLC gives the ability to actively look. LLC stands for look ahead, look around, leave room, and communicate. Look ahead means you should always look ahead at least 15 seconds in front of you to see what's going on. There could be stopped traffic, debris on the road, pedestrians or cyclists crossing, animals, construction, and more. Look ahead gives you time to react to what hazards may be coming up. Look around lets you see around your bus for pedestrians, cyclists, and other motorists. You should always expect the unexpected while you drive, because different obstacles might come out of anywhere. Look around is how you target these obstacles and then react to avoid them. When you look around, you need to change your point of focus every 2 to 3 seconds and check your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. The third L in triple LC stands for leave room. You should leave room on all 6 sides of your vehicle, above, below, on both sides, and most important, in front. That space in front of you is yours. You own that space. To be as safe as possible, all Transdev operators should always leave a minimum 4 to 5 second following distance depending on the speed you're going. If you're driving through any type of adverse condition, you should increase that following distance. Finally, we have communicate. The first 3 principles help you to see what other drivers are doing so you can adjust accordingly. But when you communicate, you're letting other drivers know what you're going to do. We communicate to other drivers with our lights, signals, and horns. So to tie it all together, when you actively look, you're utilizing look ahead and look around to spot potential risk, and then give yourself enough time to react to that risk. When you're out on the road, there may be less going on than at intersections, but there's still risk all around you. We should always expect the unexpected. To do that, we need to be aware of our surroundings. Actively look ahead for unexpected lane closures or broken down cars on the side of the road. Actively look around for cars around your bus and in your blind spots. And don't forget cars turning onto the road you're on from intersecting streets and driveways. They can and will cut you off. Perhaps most importantly, actively look for pedestrians and cyclists who aren't paying attention or crossing the street illegally. They are the most vulnerable group out there, and to make things harder, they can easily slip into our blind spots. So watch out for their safety. And when we say look, we don't just mean move your eyes back and forth. It's called active looking. So actively look for hazards that may be in your way. Move your head and eyes, and don't forget to rock and roll with your entire body, especially during turns at intersections to reduce your blind spots behind your mirror heads and in your off-track areas. Actively look for cyclists and pedestrians that may step off the curb mid-street and at intersections. Our definition of an accident is an unplanned event that disrupts activity, involves or affects people, and has a cause. And we always stress that last part, because if accidents are caused, that means they can be prevented. Whether you're driving down the road, picking up passengers, turning, or sitting at an intersection, active looking prevents accidents.
Hey, thanks a lot. You're always on point with good stuff. We appreciate it. By now, you should have a good idea of what active looking is, why it's so important, and how to actually do it. Active looking means that you make the effort to look ahead and look around your vehicle for potential dangers and adjust to the ever-changing conditions and hazards. It doesn't take much more than some effort and focus on your part to help make today and every day a perfect safety day. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
And for our last Transdev video, as we are in the middle of July, the summer, it does get very hot out there. We've had a couple of heat waves, so it's very important for you to keep yourself hydrated through the day. Please understand as well, this is a bottle of water. This helps when it comes to you being overheated. So it's okay to take a couple sips when you're at a red light or at a bus stop with your bus secured with the parking brake, okay? Please do not attempt to drink the water while you're on the freeway or while you're trying to leave a bus stop, okay? Please understand, while the bus is not in motion and secured, please keep yourself hydrated. Hopefully these tips will help you stay a little cool this summer.
Welcome back to Injury and Illness Prevention. My name is Catherine and I'm a manager at Transdev. We all know that your primary concern as a professional operator is preventing vehicular accidents. But if we want to have a perfect safety day, we'll need to do even better than that. In this portion of our monthly safety meeting, we cover the risks you face that go beyond driving. Today, we're focusing on heat stress. Regardless of where you live, you've probably dealt with extreme heat at one point or another. Prolonged exposure to heat is obviously uncomfortable, but did you know it can be dangerous to your health? High temperatures can put you and your passengers at risk of several heat illnesses, some of which can even be deadly. For the safety of yourself and your passengers, it's important to know about the risks associated with heat stress and heat illness. We'll discuss signs, symptoms, prevention, and treatment that you can use to protect yourself and others. But before we jump in, let me give you one word of advice. Staying hydrated is the best way to prevent heat illness. And of course, the best way to stay hydrated is to drink plenty of water throughout the day. Regardless of the temperature, staying hydrated will help you live a happier and healthier life. Keeping this in mind, we're going to discuss heat stress and the 4 heat illnesses that are caused by it. Now, heat stress is defined as any condition caused by the body overheating. Your body overheats due to prolonged exposure to high temperatures, especially but not necessarily if you're exercising or doing something strenuous. There are 4 heat illnesses that are caused by heat stress. In order of severity, they are heat rash, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. Now let's start with the milder of the group, heat rash. This is when the body develops clusters of red blisters on the skin. It's different than a sunburn because it doesn't directly have to do with sun exposure. It's caused by extended exposure to heat. You're particularly at risk of heat rash if you're dehydrated or wearing tight-fitting clothing that doesn't allow your skin to breathe. Next, we have heat cramps. You're less likely to experience heat cramps at work. That's because heat cramps are caused by extended periods of exercise in the heat, characterized by heavy sweating and muscle pain. Then we have heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion isn't just uncomfortable, it's detrimental to your health, and it can lead to even more serious problems. Heat exhaustion develops after repeated exposure to high temperatures over a couple of days. You're especially at risk if you're dehydrated. Now, heat rash and heat cramps can lead up to heat exhaustion. Symptoms may vary, but here are some of the common ones. Heavy sweating, paleness, muscle cramps, weakness, dizziness, headache, nausea or vomiting, fainting. Your skin may be cool and moist, your pulse rate is fast and weak, and your breathing is fast and shallow. Lastly, we have heat stroke. Heat strokes are medical emergencies and require professional and immediate medical attention. They are life-threatening, and if you know the warning signs, you could save your life or someone else's. Now, when someone is having a heat stroke, their skin becomes hot and red. They might become nauseous and start vomiting, or they might become confused and even start to lose consciousness. Without immediate medical assistance, heat strokes are extremely life-threatening. It's important to know these heat illnesses before you or one of your passengers could suffer from them. You'll want to know how to prevent them from happening and how to react to them to keep everyone safe. Let's hear from an operator about what to do to prevent heat illnesses on the job.
As we've already mentioned, the best way to prevent heat illnesses for yourself is to stay hydrated. I keep a water bottle with me on every route and drink it whenever the bus is safely stopped. But how do you protect your passengers against heat illness and heat stress? The best thing you can do is use the bus's air conditioning system. During your pre-trip, make sure the bus's air conditioning is working properly. On hot days, have the bus started ahead of time so you can have it at the ideal temperature for your passengers. Of course, that's not always enough. You need to be prepared for the event that you or one of your passengers suffers from a heat illness. If you have a heat rash, Gently wash the affected area with mild soap and water. Stay in a cool area and drink some cold water. Avoid wearing tight-fitting clothing that prevents the skin from breathing. If you're having heat cramps, it's likely because you're doing something strenuous. This is unlikely to happen as a result of your job. Your best bet is to take a break, rest somewhere that's cool, and again, drink plenty of water. When it's really hot, keep an eye out for passengers who could be suffering from heat cramps. Again, keeping the bus cool is the best way to help them in this case. Next, we have heat exhaustion. Remember, heat exhaustion is a bit more severe than heat cramps. It can lead to serious health problems if left untreated. Luckily, it should be easy to avoid. Prevent heat exhaustion in yourself and your passengers by keeping the bus cool, and drink plenty of water. If you see a passenger who may be suffering from heat exhaustion, find a time to ask them if they're okay. Get medical help if necessary. Lastly, we have heat stroke. Heat strokes are severe and potentially deadly. Use the tips we've discussed today to prevent a heat stroke for yourself. If you think one of your passengers may be suffering from a heat stroke, call 911 immediately and then call dispatch. It's a medical emergency, and only a qualified medical professional will be able to help them.
No matter where you live, high temperatures will be part of your job. That puts you and your passengers at risk of heat stress. But luckily, heat stress is totally preventable. Pre-trip your bus every day to make sure the air conditioning is working. Drink plenty of water throughout the day to keep yourself hydrated, and keep an eye on your passengers on extremely hot days. Thanks for your attention, and thanks for your dedication to injury and illness prevention.
As you've seen there, it is everyone's favorite time. It is Drive Cam time. And we got some doozies for you this time. Our first one, in relation to our lesson of active learning, active looking. It's very important for you to understand that as we're driving, to expect the unexpected. A lot of things that happen in front of us are not our fault, but we must take action and our defensive preventative action to prevent a possible collision. Now watch this first one and see the surprise at the end of it. I hope you enjoyed that one, and make sure you watch out for those trees. Our next one, as we approach an intersection, intersections are by far one of the most dangerous areas us as defensive drivers can get into. A number of different factors come into play. But also it's something that we must watch out for even when it's our right of way. Things can still happen. So as we approach intersections, remember, take your foot off the accelerator, cover the brake, and be prepared to stop as you're approaching an intersection, even when it's a green light. And as you'll see here, there's a reason why for that. Also, when it comes to our next video, active looking at intersections is also important. Watching out for other drivers making mistakes. As you think you're in your lane, protect that lane. watch and monitor what others are doing. Because as you'll see here, not everyone follows the rules. As you also can see, with active looking, with everyone not following the rules, also on the freeway, we must also monitor what is happening up ahead. With the look ahead principle, we're supposed to be looking 15 seconds into our future. What you'll see in this next video is something that it was not the driver's fault necessarily, but understand it's something that we have to be looking out for, and again, expect the unexpected. On a freeway, a number of different things can happen. When it comes to speeding, other people changing lanes, and events like this could happen in front of you. Whoa, that could have been real serious. And our last one here, active looking, once again at intersections. But let me change the intersection type. You've seen lighted intersections already. What if it's an intersection that's uncontrolled, where you have the right of way and you're assuming that cross traffic is supposed to stop? What you're about to see here is when they don't stop. Well, that's it for our drive cam videos. I hope you enjoyed them. And I hope you learned a lesson on active looking. That no matter whether it's the other car, you, or a tree, we must be paying attention at all times. So with that, this concludes our safety meeting for July of 2021. I want each and every one of you guys to remember your defensive driving principles. Look ahead, look around, leave room, and communicate. They will save you in making you a great defensive driver. This is Jacob Ortiz, always your host of these videos. Please remember, if it is not safe, don't do it, and we'll see you next month.